Now I want to get to something that I've been meaning to ask you off camera as well. So you are currently the chairperson of the Bridge Builders Association Pune. I don't even know where to begin. Because this is firstly, I'd like to tell our viewers that this is not something that you were tasked with. It is an entirely voluntary position that takes up a lot of your time and effort, but you've done such a great job, and I can personally vouch for that because I've been part of one of the events that you've organized.
Thanks.
So I think it's been a decade now since you've been
Yeah.
at the forefront of things. Just tell us what it's been like. How did it begin? Firstly, let's start from the beginning. How did you get into the volunteering part of it?
So, my family is they follow the Sadhu Vaswani mission, and we've been going to the mission since I was a child. So that has been like my home. And then we have this youth wing called Bridge Builders at the Sadhu Vaswani mission. So earlier when I was a child, I would just go for these youth meets and attend the programs, go for the sevas. We used to go to orphanages and old age homes every Sunday. And then as I started becoming more active, I was asked to sort of take up the position of being the chairperson. And I just found it so ironic because it was such a it was such an important role for the group, and at the same time that was the exact time I was starting my master's in dentistry, which was again a very time consuming sort of course. So I was just like, oh my god, how am I going to do it? But then it happened. So it made me realize that it's us, it's our mind that says that no, if I'm doing this I cannot do this, or if I'm doing this is like this cannot be prioritized. But I mean, I did my master's in prosthodontics, and at the same time I was very busy at the Bridge Builders. So it was something that I did, and I just felt like it was the perfect balance, because when I was probably tired of studying, I had Bridge Builders to look forward to, and when Bridge Builders got a little taxing, I had dentistry to sort of go back to. So it was the perfect blend. So Bridge Builders, the youth wing of the Sadhu Vaswani mission, what it does is we organize an event which is a youth-centric event every month at the Sadhu Vaswani mission. That event revolves around different topics that are sort of the burning issues of youngsters. Then we do one seva every month, wherein we can go to an orphanage or an old age home, or basically any institute that is in need of something. We go and try and help out as much as we can. And then we do 2 spiritual fellowship programs on Ekadashi days in a month. So we used to do like 4 events every month, and I think it was one of the best phases of my life being the chairperson, because I got to meet so many people from all over the world, not just India. It made me understand how to manage a team. A team means handling so many different mindsets, handling so many different egos, and I was very, very young at that time. I was like 23, 24, and it was not easy. I didn't know how to handle a situation every time, but it taught me along the way. And in the end, I just realized that okay, even though I was given that role of doing this, it was basically for my own growth. Supposing today, if you're doing an event on anger, I had to do a lot of research on anger before we did that event, right? So it was for me. It was for my understanding and my involvement rather than for the audience. That was just a byproduct. But it was essentially for my inner growth that all this was coming my way.
So you mentioned you've met a lot of interesting personalities, but I think the most interesting and special individual or personality that you met, or rather got a lot of time to spend with, was Dada Vaswani himself.
Absolutely.
I think it's incredible what the mission is doing, not only because of the events that you're organizing specifically towards things like suicide prevention and the youth and children, but also because of the amount of charity that you guys do and the amount that you guys give back to society. and that is what Dada Vaswani was all about. He was here as a guiding light, like a beacon of light, hope to humanity. I've read
Absolutely.
most of his books and they're very eye-opening. So since you've spent so much time with him, who is he to you and what impact has he made on your life?
Oh, he's like everything to me. He's more important than anyone. He's the most important personality and will be the most important personality and the most important influence on my life. He is like I don't want to say was because he still
He's still
lives
here.
on.
Yes.
I didn't do a single thing in my life without asking him, right from my education to which college I had to go to which job I would take up, to whether I could travel to a particular place or not, to every single thing was asked by him. So, so trained to do everything that he sort of guided us to do. I think if I talk about Dada, like no number of sessions
Yes,
would be
I
enough.
agree.
But so his two very prominent qualities are his humility, being the spiritual giant he was, but yet so humble.
I think that goes hand in hand.
So
Anybody who's actually spiritual will always be humble.
Humble.
Because if a person is not humble,
they're
he
not
is not
spiritual.
spiritual.
Yeah. So definitely his humility, and in fact, saints who've come to him, they have publicly announced that if you want to learn humility, you have to learn it from Dada Vaswani. And the love that he gave everyone.
Always had a smile on his face,
He always had a
irrespective
smile.
of what he was going through.
Exactly.
Or personally, I didn't get a chance to meet him. I would have had a chance to meet him, but unfortunately, he passed away 1 year before we did that event.
We did the camp. Yeah.
But yeah, the little that I've read about him in his books and his books that he's written, and the little that I've seen because of you and the bridge builders, the man always had a smile on his face.
Absolutely. So, like today, if you ask anyone about him or the experiences that they've had with him, they'll tell you one thing, that he always made me feel like I am his most special person. If you went to him, he would make you feel like you're the most special person to him. So that quality, to give the same amount of love to each and every person who comes across to you with the most silliest doubts. Like I would ask him the most silliest doubts. I don't have to ask him, can I go to Bombay tomorrow? But I would ask him and he would patiently reply to it and give me his thoughts on it. Or asking about every single job that was offered to me. I mean, he's beyond all this. So, but still, the patience and the love and the understanding with which he sort of answered every question is something that I'm always going to remember. The other thing that I'm going to remember very, very prominently is that, we had done something called as a 24 hours Sevathon. This was in Jan and he dropped his physical body in July. So he was ailing at that time. So what we did during the 24-hour Sevathon is every hour a different Seva was organized. Okay, so we started at 12 midnight on day 1 and we finished 12 midnight on day 2. So he wanted to meet all the volunteers who were involved in the Sevathon. So we went to meet him. This was about 1 week after the Sevathon was done. And whenever we went to Dada, we were so excited to tell him everything. And I was like, we did this, we went here and blah, 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 blah. I went on and on and on. So then after that, he asked me, when did you do this Seva? And I was like, maybe a week, 10 days back. And he was like, you did it 1 week, 10 days back and you still remember? He's like, if you remember and you articulate the Seva that you've done, you've not done any Seva. So that is one thing that has sort of really stayed with me. That, if we are serving and we're talking about it, we do a small thing, we'll give something to a beggar and we want to put it on social media, so
I'll tell you. So what Dada was trying to say is there's a concept, it's called the law of one. Now the law of one says that there are only two things in this world. There's service to self and service to others.
Right.
So even when we do something good for someone else, we do it as a service to self because we feel good about
Exactly.
ourselves. So Dada truly understood what it meant to be service to others because his entire life was service to others.
Absolutely. In fact, one of his thoughts says that the loan that you have to pay for inhabiting this physical body is service to the poor. So that's the loan that we have to pay.